Hi, so this is Ellie Egleton, creator and writer of Power Punch Bootcamp. Today's podcast is all about how I launched 2 successful Kickstarter campaigns to fund my graphic novels. Just a little bit about me. I've always been such a huge comic book fan. Comics were read to me as my bedtime stories when I was just a baby, starting with Batman issue 500, a comic book where Bruce Wayne was not even wearing the cape and cowl. As a teenager, I launched a comic book fanzine called First Class Comic Review with my little sister Lily and a group of friends. This was a project that I did up to my GCSE exams when I then had to stop to concentrate on my studies. But during the time when we were creating First Class Comic Review, we had such a blast because not only were we able to interview our favourite creators, but it was also a great insight into how to get a product onto the shelves of different comic book stores, which we managed to do here in the UK and also in America. Around the time of my A-levels, I drafted a book called Classified Files of a Superhero, and that is an all-ages book. I printed about 100 copies for families and for friends, but it acted as the blueprint for my Power Punch Bootcamp graphic novel, which was the first project I had launched on Kickstarter. A little bit about the story. Power Punch Bootcamp is centred around a character called the Bonester, a tiny yet terrible wannabe supervillain who sneaks into the small camp so he can achieve his big dreams. With a summer goal of world domination, the Bonester is angry when the camp master places him with the supers alongside the heroic Skylark, the timid fishboy Frank, and the hopeless romantic Rock King. When unlikely friendships are formed, the Bonester's dreams are left hanging in the balance, and readers ask just how far he will go to succeed in his plans for world domination. So it's a fun little story that I had a joy writing, and I'm so pleased that the project has extended to a second and third graphic novel. Before launching this book as a Kickstarter campaign, I remember printing the pages of the graphic novel out, using my printer at home, and filing each page back to back in plastic wallets, ready to bind and show to different creators. One of which was Dan Slott, at London's Super Comic Con in 2017, who was so encouraging. When I told him that the project is, not yet destined for comic shops, he told me that it's just not destined yet, and I had to keep going. The other creator was Mark Miller, who at C2E2 flicked through my folder before I then showed it to a publisher at the event. Once my artist and I, the artist being Alejandro Art, do follow him on Instagram at Alejandro Art, decided to crowdfund the book, we turned to Kickstarter as a friend of mine had recently successfully crowdfunded her film using the platform. So to publish our 80-page all-ages story and bonus material as a glossy graphic novel, we launched the project in 2018 on Kickstarter. And through this campaign, we raised £3,010 with 73 backers, with the average pledge being £41.23. 14% of this was raised through the Kickstarter platform, but 85% was raised via external sites, which just shows how important social media is during the campaign. So before even launching our Kickstarter, Ali and I made sure to run a countdown to the project launch on Instagram that profiled the characters of our graphic novel. So we did try to generate interest before even hitting that launch button. During the campaign, it was a 30-day campaign, we continued to post sneak peeks of our book to interest followers in our story. We wanted people to want to back us, to want to read our work. And so we made sure we continued with the daily updates online without spamming the audience. That's the key. We valued every backer who contributed to our project, and so we wanted to make sure that every tier, every reward bundle had a value. Every pledge received earned a printed credit in our book and a special thank you shout out on our social media. We were sure to offer both digital rewards and physical rewards, as we appreciate that people enjoy reading their comic books in both formats. As part of our digital offer, I created a separate 30-page companion magazine that offered backers an insight into the creation of our graphic novel, Easter eggs and all. This was a really well-received award because it showed our backers just how much thought and planning and effort went into the project, but it's also completely free for me to make. In terms of physical rewards, we had enamel pins, stickers and prints, but our most popular was the option to commission an original Alejandro art watercolour. So if you're a writer, do check with your artist on your graphic novel if they would be happy to maybe accept commissions as part of the Kickstarter award, or if they can offer original art from the book. The survey was a great opportunity to find out what characters our backers would then like to see Alejandro art draw for them. And as I said, it was a really popular reward. Once we had received our funds through the campaign, so we were successful within the 30 days, I was then able to fulfill the rewards right away, as Ali and I made sure that our project was finished and was ready to go to print. That is our top tip in launching your own crowdfunder. Make sure that your work is either near completion or has completed, so that backers are not kept waiting for their products, the rewards. We also use the update tool on the platform to keep our backers informed of every step taken post-production. Any profits that we earn, we then invested in printing extra copies of the Power Punch Bootcamp graphic novel, which we have since been able to showcase at various comic book shops, conventions and other events. So our project lived on beyond the Kickstarter. As teachers, both Ali and I teach 5 and 6 year olds, but I'm trained to teach 5 to 11 year olds, and I have done a bit of secondary school English teaching. And Ali is an art instructor, so he often runs after school comic book clubs and art clubs in Chicago. So as teachers, we have been able to use our book as an educational tool to inspire the next generation of comic book creators, our students. They get so excited when they see the little photo that's printed at the back of our books, to know that we were a part of making something. So at the end of 2019, remember our first Kickstarter launched in 2018, so 1 year later, Power Punch Bootcamp was nominated as one of the UK's greatest graphic novels of the year by Comic Scene magazine. So a lot of people had to vote for us to make that happen. And we printed an ash can, which is like a sneak peek preview, ready to promote our next book. We were really happy with our first book, and so we wanted to kickstart our second. So, to publish our next 64-page story and bonus materials, we launched a second campaign. Our sequel, Power Punch Bootcamp vs. Element 6, is set in the same universe, but features a crossover between Alejandro Art's characters and my characters. As a slightly slimmer book, we knew that we could safely decrease our funding goal and budgeted for £1,000. Through the 30-day campaign, we raised £1,103 with 37 backers. 23% of our funds were raised directly through the Kickstarter platform, and 76% was raised through external sources. and the average pledge was £29.81. Our rewards were similar to our first campaign, but this time we promoted a bundle that included the original Power Punch Bootcamp graphic novel and Element 6 comic books, although our new book was a standalone story. We wanted to do this just so we didn't leave any backers out. We didn't want anyone to think that they can't pledge to support this campaign because they've missed out on previous. So this was a great catch-up opportunity. We were able to fund our campaign in September 2019, and all rewards were dispatched by early 2020. Since then, the world has entered various stages of lockdown, but we have still continued to engage with our supporters, such as by sending our backers post-campaign free digital 10-page comic books, still set in the Power Punch Bootcamp universe. So, although Ali and I can no longer table at different comic shops and comic conventions, we're still trying to keep up with that rapport with our backers. And we also know that, our books are for all ages. We really appreciate that some children are currently at home, our schools are closed, and so we have been giving out stories and new original material for free online to give our audience something to do at home. So, overall, these are my top tips in planning for a successful Kickstarter campaign. So, number 1, you have to believe in your project. You are your book's greatest promoter, and so show the world the effort that you have made in creating your story. This could be through social media or by asking friends to help spread the word for your campaign. You could offer preview copies for review, or by teaming up with other creators to create bonus material for your books, such as pin-ups. Across our 2 graphic novels, we are lucky to have had so many amazing guest artists appear, such as Scoot and Franco from Our Year Comics. And some of the contributors, Ali has also helped out in the past, such as by contributing to their Kickstarter campaigns. Number 2, so important to budget. Before setting your funding goal, think about your expenditure post-campaign. Get quotes for all of the rewards you would like to make. Learn from me that enamel pins can be surprisingly expensive. And don't forget postage. Before my campaign, I estimated the weight of my package, and through a Royal Mail calculator, knew that I needed to charge differently for shipping to the UK and addresses worldwide. And remember, Kickstarter does take a percentage from your total raised. I think it's about 10%, so do be aware of that. Tip number 3, do not let your backers down. Every pledge is someone who has believed in you and your project, which is why I always recommend that your project is as complete as possible before it launches, so you are ready by the time your Kickstarter ends. If you experience any delays, that is okay, but be sure to keep your backers informed through the update tool. They'll definitely appreciate that to silence. That way, when you're ready for your next campaign, you have proved to the people who have backed you, who have believed in you, that you are able to fulfill your rewards and commitments. That is how we were able to successfully launch the second Kickstarter campaign. My final tip is to browse Kickstarter to check out and support campaigns that are similar to your own. I always find that the comic book community is a small world, and one in which we need to believe in each other as creators. So I hope you enjoyed this quick 15-minute run through of how I was able to launch 2 successful Kickstarter campaigns. Ali and I are so looking forward to launching our next, which is the 3rd book in the Power Punch Bootcamp universe. We're currently planning it now, ready for hopefully a summer launch. And do please tag me in any Kickstarter campaigns you are running, as I'm always interested to see new and exciting products. Thank you so much. Bye.